Welcome to Trivial 10, everybody, the show that provides you with offbeat facts about any given subject.
Yeah, we aren't going to give you the top 10 facts. We're going to give you our personal favorites.
Yeah, so today we are going to be dishing out some beautiful yellow tinted goodness about dandelions.
I'm excited and confused and all sorts of wired about this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and share.
Yeah, I'm Juan. That's Jordan. Let's get trivial. So, trivial factoid number 1 about the dandelion.
Bring it.
You ready?
I am.
All right. You guys are about to get your minds blown. So, dandelions were brought over to the Americas intentionally. Yeah. So, when they were coming over in the Mayflower, Santa Maria, and everything, they actually had barrels that were designed to be able to carry the seeds. And one of the seeds that they were adamant about bringing with them was dandelion seeds. So now we hear about plant life being brought over invasively, like they could have been in the hooves of a horse or cow or something like that, not on purpose. But dandelions were brought over intentionally, as well as, and we're not going to go into it, but also there's another plant called garlic mustard. It's another example, and that was brought over as a food source, just like dandelions were brought over as a food source instead of just the seeds.
I'm already perplexed, but if you intentionally put that in a barrel and put it on a boat for 6 weeks, I mean, that space on the boat is precious.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something really important about this dandelion.
There are lots of things that are important about this dandelion. And that's why I wanted to go ahead and lead off with this right here is that before we go any further at all, the main reason why we have dandelions in the United States today, they are all around the world, even in the Arctic, fun fact. But dandelions are in the United States of America is because they were brought over intentionally by our founding fathers and the very first pilgrims into America.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I did not know that. All I knew about them is I need to get Scott's weed and feed and hit him with the weed and feed every spring and fall.
Yeah, you're right. And you're going to be right for a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll see.
There's more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's more. So factoid number 2, they have 3 major purposes. Do you want to take like a guess at like what you think some of those purposes would be?
I want to say nutritional, medicinal, and gosh.
You've got 2 of them.
Topical?
Close.
Okay.
So medicinal, correct.
Okay.
Culinary, correct. And then they were also brought over as a dye material as well too. Whether it be for clothing, stylish options, you could break it down and it would become a dye.
Like a beautiful yellow.
Yeah. Dandelion yellow.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, they are pretty, and the only reason I think they're ugly is because somebody told me they were weed.
There's some little bit of corporate propaganda in there, which I'm sure you guys enjoy that episode.
That's a good one.
I enjoyed it.
My grandma enjoyed it.
Yeah, so. Thank you, Jordan's grandma.
So sweet, grandma.
All right, number 3, they carry sentimental value. Yeah, so when they were initially brought over, once again, early pilgrim days, they were brought over not only as a food source, not only for medical, not only for dye material, but they also carried sentimental value because they were quoted in many poems to be a reminder of home when things were simpler.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of, okay, so help me understand that. So it was kind of like this was something they had back at home, and they brought it over, and it's crazy, and it's wild over here, Wild West.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, at least we've got dandelions.
Yeah, it was almost like dandelions. I mean, other than your family, well, no, dandelions would be easier to bring along than your family. You just kind of have to.
Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, sorry, Pops. You're coming to America.
And this bucket of dandelions.
Yeah. But yeah, so the dandelion was so prevalent where they were moving from that it was just like a staple, almost like how imagine living in Colorado, and if you wanted to be able to have a little bit of home, you'd put up a picture or a postcard of the Rocky Mountains.
Right.
Or, Michigan, you would put up a picture of like the Great Lakes or something like that. Well, they didn't have those kind of things, so you got to be able to think, what's the most readily accessible thing to me? They brought over dandelions, and it was a sentimental. So poetry, songs, any forms of entertainment that you could use back then, it would be used, and dandelions were very prevalent. So
there's like the dandelion jam.
Yeah,
it's like a song, and then the story
and a
about
literal jam. They actually had dandelion jam as well too, where they would put dandelion petals into jams and stuff like that.
Me.
I'm being dead serious with you.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So that was number 3, sentimental value. So number 4, gardeners and landscapers used to weed around dandelions.
Okay.
So it wasn't really until the 20th century that media started to project the perfect lawn. We would see the white picket fence, the 2.5 kids, the beautiful house, all that jazz, and a perfectly manicured lawn.
Green lawn. There's
Yeah.
nothing else in there unless it's behind the border of the landscaping, then it's flowers. But there's no dandelions in there.
Correct.
Huh.
Correct. So with the media portrayal of all of that, they also introduced something that would change our suburban landscape forever. Do you have any idea what that thing might be?
The lawnmower?
Close. The lawnmower is a result of this.
Oh, interesting.
The actual grass itself. So the grass that they were depicting and within commercials and all the ideology is actually an invasive species. So the grass isn't native. It doesn't produce anything. It doesn't provide anything but just visuals for human beings.
Right.
So grass, because it's an invasive species, doesn't produce any nitrogen, doesn't produce any nutrients in the soil.
Yeah.
The roots go down super shallow, so it's hard to be able to maintain properly. But because it looks beautiful and because of all of these things of it basically just being there and just sucking up all of this nutrients and everything, you have to be able to buy certain things. You have to buy fertilizer. You have to buy fertilizer that provides nitrogen because grass eats up all the nitrogen. But the dandelion roots that they begin taking out within these portrayals of the American home are great providers of nitrogen to be able to provide nutrients to the lawns.
Wow.
But because they took out the dandelions, because they took out clovers and other nutrient dense plant life, now we got to buy all these things to be able to take care of our perfectly manicured lawn.
So they're just leaching all of the good stuff, the nutrition of our yards.
Yeah.
To grow the St. Augustine or Kentucky bluegrass. Wow, that's crazy, man.
Now, I will say I do like some Kentucky bluegrass.
It's not. Wait, are we talking? Okay, I was like, which one are we talking about here? Bermuda.
Yeah.
It's all just sucking up the life out of your lawn.
Now, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Am I still a bad person if I still want that perfectly manicured lawn and everything like that, though?
No, absolutely not. I think everybody wants the St. Augustine, thick blade, dark green, beautiful lawn.
Yeah.
But it's only because we've been raised to believe that that is the way it's supposed to look.
Right,
You know?
right. And it takes a lot of effort to be able to maintain that.
Oh my gosh, it does.
I'm wondering if we can figure out like a compromise. Because the more I've been learning about this, the more I've learned about how like nutrient-rich dandelions are. I'm like, maybe I could like dictate like a certain portion of my lawn to where the dandelions can grow there if they want. And maybe over the time they'll learn like, hey, I could just grow here and we won't be touched. Be fine. I'll have like a little dandelion patch.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then so they'll just start to migrate that way.
Yeah.
And you'll have families of dandelions that will have moved from the old country
Yeah.
to the new country.
Yes.
Because there was a harsh dictator
Yeah.
that was cutting them all down.
Yeah, exactly. And I was the dictator.
Yes.
It was me.
No, dude. I hear that. My personal experience right now is being on 2 acres is I cannot control it anymore.
Yeah.
When I had, I lived in a neighborhood where it was a smaller lot. It was 0.11 acres.
Right.
Even at that point, I couldn't control it like I wanted to because I'm not retired.
Yeah.
And I didn't have all day, every day to go out there and manicure it. But now that I'm out here, and since you and I have talked, it's like spring has sprung on us. And now I'm like, I'm just going to leave that. These wildflowers that come up in my yard are absolutely gorgeous. There's purples, there's pinks, there's yellows.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let them grow.
Yeah.
Now there are some really gross looking.
Oh, of course. You
plants.
get like your crabgrass. They have the other ones with like the thorns and the
Yes.
bristles that grow on the side.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I'm like, let's ditch those.
Yeah.
But the dandelions aren't doing anything except for looking pretty.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've even changed my since we've been talking about this over the last few weeks is because you mentioned one fact about this.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, he's right, man. These are just beautiful God-given wildflowers. And here I am like, man, those stupid, like almost cursing these flowers. But really cool. Really cool stuff.
It's really cool. I'll hit a little bit more on one of our other points, but now I want to talk about point number 5.
All right.
And that is its medicinal purposes.
Oh.
In current day medicinal purposes that can be provided to us.
Okay.
So It is dandelions are naturally a diuretic. They could be used to treat warts. Back in the day, they were used to be able to treat the plague. They lower your blood pressure. They have more vitamins. They have more vitamin A than spinach.
Wow.
More vitamin C than tomatoes. They also have vitamin K as well. And they're excellent sources of iron, calcium, and potassium.
Wow.
Now, the list doesn't stop there. It also helps provide ailments against symptoms of toothaches, rotting gums, baldness.
You're kidding me.
Being dead serious.
List. No?
Dandruff, sores, fevers, weakness, lethargy, and depression.
Wow.
Is that it is excellent, basically medicinal uses to be able to prevent against those. And you got to think back in the day, it was used for everything because back in the day, we didn't know the importance of vitamins.
Right.
I mean, millions of people died of scurvy, and scurvy is just
vitamin C.
Yeah. You're losing out on that. So that's why millions of people ended up dying from scurvy was because of that. So they would basically then start introducing dandelions even more into their diet, and all of a sudden people weren't dying of scurvy. And it wasn't until we were able to develop technology to be able to see, oh, this is a vitamin powerhouse.
Wow.
And they taste good.
I thought we might come to some point where you were going to tell me we could eat these things.
Oh, heck yes.
Like you just pluck them and eat them?
Yes. So you could just pluck off the heads. You can eat them raw.
Yeah.
Now the biggest thing is back in like even the 60s, 50s, they would have it to where they wouldn't pluck their dandelion head some more.
Yeah.
You would, like, if your grandma wanted some, well, actually, let's go and talk about number 6.
Okay.
Dandelion wine.
Dandelion wine.
So you can go ahead and ferment the heads of the dandelion. You could be able to make yourself a dandelion wine. And it's been known to be like just nice and sweet and good and rich and delicious. And grandmas would actually send their grandkids out to the neighbors' houses to go pick the dandelion heads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That way the neighbors didn't have to worry about killing them or taking them out, all that jazz. And then the grandmas would go ahead and make their dandelion wine.
How many heads, though, to make a bottle of wine?
That is an excellent question that now I want to look up because I did not think about actually doing the research to see that.
How long are the grandkids gone? Is this a 3-week journey? That's a lot of dandelion heads, but they grow in big clumps.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I'm talking about when like suburban life has already taken hold. So they're just going around to different neighborhood lands. So, they weren't gone so it wasn't that long ago when this was a common thing.
Wow. That's crazy. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. You can actually use dandelions to make root beer as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So the dandelion root is one of the primary ingredients of root beer.
It is like modern day root beer.
No, well, the natural root beer.
Oh, gotcha.
The modern day root beer we have is just sugar and caramel
high fructose
color
syrup and all that junk. Okay, gotcha.
Number 7, the seed heads, aka the floaties. So like when you blow on a dandelion head and they'll float away and everything like that.
Yeah.
It always looks like cotton.
Yeah.
So each head will usually contain between 50 to 175 seeds.
Okay.
Per dandelion head. 50% of those on average will germinate if they hit the right soil. It's known for being one of the flowers with the highest reproductive rate.
50%.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is huge,
That's
especially
incredible.
like in the natural animal kingdom.
Yeah.
50% is huge.
Yeah.
Like we're lucky if we get the baseball numbers of batting 300 sometimes when it comes to some of these species and everything.
No, you're right.
So, and then they're also known to be incredibly opportunistic and can travel up to 5 miles.
5 miles.
Yeah.
Wow. But I mean, if you get picked up on a good gust, I mean, I guess you could get carried up and God, 5 miles, that's a good distance.
But I mean, just the fact that you combine the fact that they can travel so long and they're opportunistic. Like how many times have you been walking down the sidewalk and just see like a random dandelion like popping up through the cement? It's like, how did you get there?
Persistence.
Yeah. Exactly. So they're able to adapt to any type of situation. So dandelions have been found as far north as the Arctic Circle, and even down into like the Tropic of Cancer, jungles. Like they can live pretty much anywhere. I would be willing to say that they're like the tardigrades of the flower brotherhood or sisterhood. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna go sisterhood on that one.
Yeah. I'll go sisterhood of the flowers.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that dandelions wouldn't be able to survive in space. So tardigrades still have them beat on that.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
They're just indestructible.
Uh-huh.
Wow, they're just survivors.
Does anything else like indestructible as a dandelion kind of come to mind?
Cockroach,
Cockroach,
Twinkie,
Twinkies, Nokia phones.
Nokia ones with snake on them.
Yeah, with steak on them. Yeah.
Ah,
I still remember that.
yeah, definitely not a Motorola Razor.
No, not no more.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
Number
Yeah.
8.
Yeah,
Are you ready?
bring it.
The root system can go down up to 15 feet.
Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
15 feet?
Yep. Down. Not even out. Just like straight down.
They're like 6 inches out.
Yeah. That's why those suckers are so hard to get rid of. Like you pluck it. Okay, cool. The root system's still there. It's just going to grow another shoot.
15 feet. That's insane, dude.
Yeah.
I don't even know why. Wow.
Yeah. I kind of get like this visualization. Remember, did you ever watch Hercules? The animated Hercules?
Oh, the Disney movie?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did not see that one.
Okay. All right. Well, this would still work for anybody who's knows anything about that. But I think of the Hydra, like the monster where you would cut off one head and the other ones would go ahead and grow back and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
I think of dandelions now when I think of that.
Yeah.
Like it's like you just cut me down and I will come back even stronger than I was now.
Right.
As Obi-Wan said.
Right. Right. I was like, no, but seriously though, they're kind of like I picture them laughing. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
think this hurts me?
Then you feel great. Yeah. You feel like a big man, huh?
Yeah.
I'll be back in
I'll be
like
back.
2 days. And that's the other thing. I feel like.
Fast.
Yeah.
Fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like one day all of a sudden like they're there and like they'll just shoot up out of the ground. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They could be there and then the next day they're like 6 inches out of the ground.
Yeah. It's how, and it's like, how did they survive the winter? They're 15 feet under where it's, basically neutral temperatures for the year long.
Yeah.
If you're that deep.
They're just surviving, thriving, living a good life. They got
good
HBO Max. They got Netflix. They got their water. So, yeah, so the root systems can go ahead and go down up to 15 feet.
Wow.
So
Hopefully they didn't have Netflix stock, but
Yeah, hopefully not.
that one took a hit.
Well, unless you're looking at it and you're like, it's time to buy now.
It's time to buy.
It's time to
And
buy.
some people.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, Dan.
Some people, if it gets down to a certain amount, I would buy like a full stock of Netflix just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just joking. I'm like, I would buy a bunch. And be like, YOLO.
Right? It's true.
Speaking of YOLO, the golden path. Maybe. Okay, let me say this again. The golden path. I'm going to go ahead and put it in parentheses.
Yeah.
So this is number 9. Dandelions. Do you ever think about how did they make their way out west when like the Great Migration from the eastern coast to the western coast? Like the
Sure,
first
because I know how they
settlers?
got here.
Yeah.
You told me that. So they're on a boat intentionally, get them over here.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's that 5 mile thing. They're just drifting
Yeah.
westward. But anyways.
Right. And you're right. And I'm sure like there were settlers who brought dandelions with them. You would think if they were that prominent.
Right.
Because we got to think we're only just a few generations kind of removed from like the initial people that came in there.
Right.
So the first travelers west had to basically face deep-rooted grass systems because those were native. That grass was native.
Right.
So they're deeply rooted. They're like living a good life. That were basically initially non-impressionable. Like it was just hard to be able to go ahead and make an impression like within the soil itself, because we think of the travel out west, we think of the Oregon Trail, and you come across all these different settlements and everything like that, like on your way there.
Right.
Restock up on your beef, bullets, all that jazz. But like I'm talking about like the first settlers who were moving out west, they had nothing. There's no trails there or anything. You were plowing the way yourself.
Oh, yeah. And if you didn't die of dysentery or your ox didn't die or,
Yeah.
dehydrated.
Yeah. I mean, snakes,
Mountain lions,
all that, like
cannibalism.
you're in their territory.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
So with those deep-rooted grass systems, they were basically non-impressionable. But over time, the wheels of the carts created grooves over a period of time.
Yeah.
And this allowed the flower to naturally migrate. So you think about it. So years go by of them driving down, creating grooves in the path.
Right.
Every time it's time for them to germinate, they're at least being able to move out 5 miles. So little bit by little bit, every single season, the dandelion is naturally migrating out west on its own, as well as with any dandelions that could have been brought with anybody else.
Wow.
So some sections were so thick because of the migrating dandelions that they were called the Golden Path by settlers and were often seen as good luck, good omens, and basically it was just going to be a good day. and they would just
Interesting.
walk through patches of
Yeah.
dandelions. Yeah.
Just along the trail there.
Yeah, just along the trail.
Interesting.
Well, no, the trail was dandelions.
Oh, the trail was.
Yeah,
Oh.
almost. Yeah. So the golden path, almost like the yellow brick railroad.
Oh, wow. It just
And-
made up the whole path.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
they
I
were
was
just
seeing it like
walking on
visioning
it.
on the sides.
Nope.
But it's just the whole thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You'd think that'd get trampled down over time, but I guess the wheels are on the outside.
Right.
So it's just, wow, that's cool, man.
Yeah. So I always thought that was cool. Are you ready for number 10?
I'm ready. I think I can handle it.
You ready?
We've
Okay.
built up to this.
Bayer, the owner of Bayer Aspirin,
Yeah.
in June of 2020 was ordered to pay a $10 billion cancer lawsuit to over 125,000 claims involving contact of their weed killer, Roundup. Roundup is one of the most prominent weed killers. And as we talked about on one of our prior shows with corporate propaganda, we already talked about the fact that dandelions became basically became weeds because they couldn't get the chemicals to differentiate between other weeds and dandelions and other weeds and clovers. So they just threw dandelions and clovers into the mix
Wow.
and called it a day. So the Bayer bought Roundup in 2018 from Monsanto for $63 billion.
Wow.
Monsanto owns the weed killer.
Uh-huh.
Bayer buys the weed killer.
Yeah.
2 years later, they enter into this suit where they figure out we're going to have to pay for the medical necessities of these people who got cancer. One of the major prominent forms of cancer was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Wow.
From the Roundup itself. So they buy Roundup from Monsanto. They don't buy Monsanto. They buy Roundup.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, they're paying themselves because the people are having to come to Bayer to be able to get the medical supplies to be able to take care of the sicknesses that they got from Roundup.
That makes me want to throw up.
So at the end of the day, it's one big purchase to make sure that, yeah, sure, we'll take care of these people, but we're going to be paying ourselves in the process.
Wow.
So that right there is my 10 things about dandelions. What do you think?
Well, I'm blown away by the versatility of the dandelion. I'm angry
Yeah.
that we don't use it in everything just so they can sell weed killer. It's just kind of crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had mentioned this to someone earlier today.
Mhm.
Shout out to Lacey,
Yeah.
another Lacey.
Hey.
Hey, Lacey, thank you. And she was like, yeah, all of that. There's a bunch of benefits to dandelions. And I'm like, I'm 39.
Yeah.
How am I just figuring this out?
Yeah.
And it's just all buried.
Yep.
So they can sell you a bunch of meds.
Yeah.
And a bunch of weed killers.
Yeah. Literally,
That's,
so many things we talked about are things that, number one, Bayer produces for their medication. But it's not just Bayer. It's everybody.
Right.
It's all a big pharma for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is just insane that something that used to be such a staple all the way up and even into like the 20th century. Like this isn't just like dandelions have always been bad. This is a recent thing within just the past couple of generations in which dandelions have been noted as a bad thing.
It seems like we're missing out as humans, or at least Americans, on all the benefits. I don't know if these are dandelions more prominent in medicine and nutrition across the world.
So dandelions are used as, yes, they are. Because really America is not the only country, but America is such a country known so much for its diversity in medications, and it's been able to, like, the fact that you can even advertise for medications in America is a big thing, because everywhere else in the world, that's not really much of a thing. I think that we forget about that sometimes, is that other parts of the country, like, they're not advertising for this particular medication for low blood pressure and then having the happy family dance in the background and just saying one of the side effects can be death.
Yeah.
That's really just an American thing right there. So yes, it is prominently used in other parts of the world, but not so much of the first, like the first worlds.
Right.
So you think about us and Britain and like the EU and
Well-developed first world nations.
Right.
Okay.
Overpaying for the medicines and all that jazz. But for like the second and third world countries, dandelions are used prominently.
It's a racket, man.
Yeah.
It's
It is crazy.
Racket. Keep the good benefits of big pharma.
Yep.
And let's get rid of the junk and use the stuff that's been around for years. It's pretty simple, man.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. All right. So with all of those things right there, are you ready for a little bit of a quizzle dizzle?
Dude, I was born ready.
Let's go quizzle
get it.
dizzle. I try not to hit too hard. So, dandelion can be used as a tea, which, by the way, naturally caffeine free. You could drink it any part of the day. It is recommended to drink it before you go to bed because it is a natural fat burner.
Whoa.
Now then, though, it is known as a natural fat burner in a certain specific part of the body. I can give you a few options if you would like.
Let's do this.
All right. Option number 1 is the chin, the neck,
Okay.
the jowls. Is that the jowls?
Jowls, yeah.
The jowls?
Yeah, I think you could call it. Just don't say you reference your wife's jowls.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yes. Never. Not especially on a Tuesday.
Yes.
Underarm,
Oh.
underarm fat,
Okay.
or belly fat.
Jeez, dude, that's a tough one.
So you got neck fat, you got arm fat, you got belly fat. And it's good for a specific one of these.
A specific one. I'm feeling pretty dandy about belly fat.
Feeling pretty dandy about belly fat?
I am.
I like the correlation, and you would be correct.
Oh, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. No, please sit down. Sit down. I don't deserve it.
Yeah, so it is naturally a belly fat reducer.
I need to get on that.
Yeah, and it's good to drink it at least twice a day. Drink it in the morning to get those the juices moving. Drink it in the evening before bed, and you will burn some belly fat.
Is this like a
while you're sleeping.
spoonful, or is this like a
an
liter?
actual tea? Like you can look it up online and get
right.
make yourself some dandelion tea.
That sounds awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I can do that.
I really want to try it now. I actually want to try
dandelion
this.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
after this
dandelion
episode.
salad,
Yes.
dandelion tea,
Yes.
dandelion jello. Let's just go for it.
Dandelion brew,
Dandelion brew,
perhaps.
dandelion root beer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it raised on high fructose syrup, root beer. I don't know. Hopefully I wouldn't just reject it.
I hope so too.
Makes me sad. But I've gone on a tangent. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. That's all we needed. I can just cut back to the normal stuff after this. This is just filler.